You guys have probably seen this man basher, man hater making the rounds. She was on the Piers Morgan show, right? And she couldn't answer Andrew Wilson's question of what do men get in return for all their provision and providing? Well, I think we all know what she would say, right? And we'll look at that a little later. But I bet you don't know what she said 4 years ago. She made another video 4 years ago on her own in her kitchen. And she's told us how she really feels. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Far From Eden. She is the reason why the men's rights movement speak out against women in the church and the church in general, because you see this attitude time and time again with the church ladies, the traditional ladies, right? They claim they're traditional. Why? Because they're feminine. They put on the feminine costume and they act feminine, when they want something. Or what? They allow the man to protect them. They allow the man to provide for them. How is that adding value to his life? That is just treating him like a servant. And the men's rights movement has an excellent point with that. But I am here to tell you that is not what we should be doing. And isn't it interesting that Andrew Wilson is an Orthodox Christian? He certainly doesn't stand by the simpage that goes on in church, the entitlement with the ladies. He doesn't. And that is so refreshing, but there are so few of us that will speak out and say, that's not correct. The way the church is also chastising men and expecting them to live the happy wife, happy life. They do. They encourage this thought process. They encourage this behavior. And this is like, this lady said the quiet part out loud. Tami Lahren, you guys. Tami Lahren. All right. You're not going to believe your ears. You're not. You're not going to believe your ears.
I consider myself a teacher, a helper.
Hold on. She's too fast. We can't handle her any more hyper and manic than she already is. Oh, you guys. Okay. Let's get that back. Thank God you guys forgive me for my mistakes.
Consider myself a teacher, a helper, someone who could possibly inspire people to be better. So with that being said, this is a PSA for all the men out there. And
is this why they all become life coaches? She basically, I consider myself a teacher. I consider myself to know everything, and I should be the boss of everyone because I'm so good. Imagine saying that out loud. Like, do you hear yourself? You like yourself a little bit, do ya? Oh yeah, it gets worse.
And all the boys who think they're men, but they're actually boys. This is going to be the summer of canceling boys. Now, from my own personal experiences and the experiences of all of my friends, which range in age from 24 to 36, we've all got issues. Now, I will also say this. All of my friends are attractive. All of my friends are successful. All of my friends have something going on.
Successful? Is that what men look for, Tami? They're all successful? They all girl bosses? Are they all strong and independent? Is that what men even want? Oh, you'd probably tell them they want the wrong things and they should want that. They're attractive. Do they wear too much makeup? Are they fake? Do they dress immodestly? Maybe they're not wife material, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
Almost every single one of them have an issue with men. And you have to start looking at that and thinking, if an age range of that many people, including myself, living really all over the country and being blonde, brunette, short hair, long hair, I mean, tan, super white, super pale. I mean, these women range in every body type and everything. They're all successful.
What is their character? What are their values? What does their past look like, lady? Who is the superficial one? Is it men or is it women? Men get accused of it. All she's focusing on is superficial. Even being successful for women is superficial. And a lot of men might look at that as a detriment. And she would probably say, oh, that's because they're insecure. Because she's going to criticize anything you do that disagrees with what she believes or doesn't show women in the most favorable light and say that they're wonderful and perfect and what's wrong with you. It doesn't even occur to her. She's like, all my friends have problems finding men. What's wrong with the men? At some point, you have to look at that. And I'm like, at some point, you have to look at yourselves and go, if something's on the shelf, not to belittle you, ladies, and use an inanimate object, but this is just an example. If something's on the shelf and it's not selling, maybe something's wrong with what's on the shelf. Maybe it's not the customer's fault, right? Customer's not interested in what you're showing. And you say something's wrong with that customer. Something must be wrong with the men. You know why? Because it couldn't possibly be the women. Ah, how absurd. In her world, it couldn't possibly be the women. In her world, something's wrong. Well, logically, lady, no, not logically. Conveniently,
they're all intelligent, they're all good people. But if all of these women, including myself, are having issues, then I have to think, it might not be us. It might be you. It might be men. It might be men. Now, I've often talked about the pussification of America and how men are no longer men. I talked to my mom about this a lot.
If there are men who are no longer men, it's the men that answer to you and your ilk. If there is a weakening of men, it's the men that still bow down to this and still protect and provide and serve and yes, honey, and they get very little in return in comparison. If there is a something-ification, which I won't even use that word, of men, it's because it's the ones that are bowing down to you, lady. It's not the ones who are saying no. Those are strong men. They're strong because they're not putting up with this garbage anymore. And yeah.
She says, well, maybe it's just the guys in Texas. Maybe it's just the guys in Los Angeles. Maybe it's just the guys. It is not just the guys in Los Angeles, Nashville, Dallas, and they're not any better in the Midwest. They, quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country in the age range of about 20 to I think about 55, maybe even 60. A lot of men are trash.
Did you hear that? You're trash. If you're not putting up with this business, if you're not bowing down to her and accepting whatever it is they offer, then you're trash. Ages 20 to 55, you're all trash. That's what she thinks. Imagine saying that about men. Imagine if a man had come on here and said that. They accuse us in the red pill community, the manosphere, whatever, of doing exactly what she is doing. I mean, do you even hear yourself, lady? Feminist.
A lot of men don't know how to treat women. A lot of men don't know how to really, quite frankly, pull their heads out of the sand and pay attention. So I am going to help you.
A lot of men don't know how to behave.
And these are some of the things that I've experienced. And these are some of the things my friends have experienced. I'm just going to lay a few things out. They haven't all happened to me. Some of them have just happened to my friends. A lot of them have happened to me. So
she goes on to tell you, I'm not kidding, how you should act. I'm going to put this video in the description because if you can stomach it, you can listen to all of her tips about how to be better, how you should approach women, what you should do, what you should say. Lady, what should women do? Huh? What should women do? And that's why it was so satisfying when they went on the Piers Morgan show, Andrew Wilson and Tami Lahren, and he said to her what I have been waiting for someone to say to her. It was so satisfying. Let's take a look at that. Now, this is all in response to a movie that just came out called Adolescence. And that movie is pure propaganda. It was about this teenage kid that gets radicalized by the manosphere and the red pill content. The red pill content, like the Andrew Tate type, where it's like, you gotta, have as many women as you can and trick them and, pickup artists and stuff like that, which we all know is not, it's part of the red pill movement. There are some people that take the red pill and that's their reaction. But in my experience, that is not the broad reaction. In this movie, he ends up extinguishing a young girl because, of course, we're all violent. It's such a lie that, all these incels are terrible people, et cetera, et cetera. No, that's not true. But that is what they want to promote. So it raised the topic of feminism and male-female relations. So that's how the conversation came up. And let's take a listen to some of that.
Well, The Guardian summed up the general tone of the reporting with a headline that said, from the police to the Prime Minister, how adolescence is making Britain face up to toxic masculinity. But is it really? Can it not just be a successful drama that references popular culture, as so many do? Critics of the show say it's another version of the same man-bashing narrative that gave rise to the so-called manosphere in the first place. Well, here to debate all this is the host of The Crucible, Andrew Wilson, the radio host, James Barr, the host of Tami Lahren is Fearless on Outkick, Tami Lahren, and the host of The Determined Society, Sean Fraser. Welcome to all of you. Andrew Wilson, let me start with you, because look, I've got three sons, 31, 27, 24. I think I brought them up to respect women, to not behave in a misogynist way, and to behave in a pretty decent way generally. But I'm also aware that they've grown up in an era when the likes of Andrew Tate and others have become increasingly dominant in the way that a lot of impressionable young men start to think and view women. And for all that Andrew Tate can say that is positive about getting fit and being successful and confident,
they have it so backwards. The manosphere is a reaction to the behavior of the lady folk, right? They don't want to be like this. It is my experience, and I've talked to so many, right? Real people, not caricatures like Andrew Tate. He does not represent the men that I have spoken to. And they want to put that out there, though, because they want to tell you guys that you guys are so bad. You guys are misogynistic. You guys, because if they can pin it on you, that means the women, well, they're holy and honorable. They're beyond reproach. And if you dare to criticize, well, you're just proving our point. It's so backwards. Anyway, can't wait. I can't wait. I'll watch this again. I have watched Andrew just destroy Tommy so many times. I mean, I think he broke her brain.
And so on. There's indisputably a hardcore streak of misogyny that runs through his veins, which I think has been quite damaging to young men. So I'm not all in either way here, but I can certainly see the arguments. Where do you sit?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that so I watched the show, and it just goes through a typical feminine view, right? So all of these things are always through the prism of the feminine. So young boys, they don't do well in school. They don't do well in school because it's all programmed for the feminine. Stay still, fold your hands, right? Be quiet. Boys are rambunctious. They like to beat each other up. They like to be mischievous. They like to break things. They like to do that kind of stuff. There's no outlet for them to do that stuff. Their teachers are all women, right? There's basically all masculinity is now considered toxic, basically all of it. The same women who are getting their double shot of espresso on the way over to the school they're about to teach at, they're 24 years old. Sometimes they're banging their own students, right? Hilariously enough. And then these people go out to Parliament. The same women will go to Parliament. They vote to send men off to war to stab each other in the face with bayonets. And you're concerned about toxic masculinity. It cracks me up. It's like the brutal savagery of men is a necessary precondition for society to exist. And we just kind of pretend like it's not. And this show should actually be an indictment on the feminine rather than the masculine, because basically masculinity is just punished everywhere all the time, nonstop. It's no wonder guys like Andrew Tate get so famous in these spaces. I mean, what's the alternative? The alternative is everything must be feminine, tone policing, nonsense like this. It's ridiculous.
All right, James Barr, you were laughing, but I don't think I'd enjoy
crazy.
what you're hearing.
No, I mean, I don't think you've seen the show. Episode 2 is shot entirely in a school. I didn't see one of the female teachers drinking a double shot of espresso.
Really? He's like, you're wrong. They didn't drink espresso. Okay, beta boy.
At all. None of the teachers were flirting with students. There were male teachers as well. I don't think you're describing the
It's a television show. They're not going to show that. The whole point is to show boys are bad and men are bad if they dare to say, hey, I don't like what's going on here. Like, he's like, I didn't see that in the show. And yeah, because it's propaganda, stupid.
show here. I think you're describing your own insecurities or agenda.
Yeah, so this doesn't contend with the argument. Like, do you understand that I'm making an argument, an indictment of society itself based around my ideas that I'm seeing from this show? That's what I'm actually doing. So if you could contend with the fact that male savagery is necessary for the security of a nation, and that women will indeed vote in the future in parliaments to send men off to war to stab each other in the face at 18 years old with bayonets, perhaps you can contend with that before we start, getting into, well, tone policing is actually good and toxic masculinity is actually bad. It's like, I think there needs to be a little bit more toxic masculinity, or what you consider to be toxic masculinity.
Well, great. Good for you.
Nothing.
I'm glad you think so.
Nothing.
No, I mean, I just don't need to argue with that because
You just unlocked. You got nothing.
You're making up.
You
an
do
agenda
seem
that
unusually
I've not
muted
said
by that,
I've not
James.
said anything. I haven't literally said nothing about
James,
toxic
you were literally
masculinity
rendered
at
silent.
all,
Like, you
because
had no way of responding.
I'll tell you what, you can't argue with a completely illogical argument that had, like, I've not made any of the
It's a
comments
logical argument. You may not agree with it.
I've not made any of
He's
the
making a perfectly
comments
logical argument.
that you are firing at me. None of those comments are things I've said or believe in.
All right, I want to bring Tommy in. Just
He totally lost the argument. That is hilarious and so satisfying. He's like, you can see, he's like, oh God, he's right. Because he wants to say something like, but violence is bad and we should all sit in a circle and sing Kumbaya. That's not the way of the world. It's not how it works. Andrew is 100% right. And I love the way he presented it, because he just went straight to what was going to break that dude's brain. So satisfying.
Tommy, you've got a very interesting perspective, I think. You've talked about something different. You call it the pussification of men, which is a great phrase. I'd love you to just explain what you mean by that. But also, you're not a fan of Andrew Tate or the influence he has. So that makes you, I think, an interesting commentator in this area. So just explain, first of all, the pussification of men.
All right, Piers. Well, I think, and I can't see you all, so forgive me if I'm incorrect here, but I think I'm the only female on this panel.
Correct.
So I'm really anxious to weigh in. Okay, so I think
I'm the only female on this panel. I'm really anxious to weigh in on male behavior. We saw it in the video from 4 years ago.
for the last probably 10 years, there has been what I call the pussification of men. It was everything should be about your emotions and your feelings, and men were emasculated, and this whole concept of toxic masculinity warped the minds of a lot of young men. And they felt masculine, they wanted to be masculine, but society was telling them they should be softer, that it was being toxically masculine if you wanted to play sports and chop wood and go to war. And
No, they were saying, if you don't put up with women's crapola, then that's toxic masculinity. If you understood that, as Andrew said, men go to war. If bad men invade a country, men have to be violent and do something about it. And yes, it should be men at the end of the day. Why? Because if bad men enter your country, and they're innocent men, do you want to win? Now, however, the other part of that is the women need to be contributing to that as much as possible in the strongest supportive role they can. They are incapable of effectively fighting in infantry and stuff like that. It's just our biology. But to just sit there and send men off to war, gosh, I shouldn't be saying that word on YouTube, but whatever. How dare you? Right? I think the people that have to go should be the people who decide if they do or not.
And so men were so emasculated and so beat down that then there was this revolution of what was actually toxic masculinity, the Tate brothers and others, which I feel as a female that doesn't represent true masculinity. That to me represents douchebaggery. And as a woman, I want a strong man who is a protector and a provider that will go to war if need be, that will protect me, protect my family, make money. I see
Protect my family. Did you catch that? Words matter. To protect my family. Whose family is it, Tami?
that as being actually masculine. That's like the man that I grew up with, my dad. But what we're seeing now is
Your dad was a simp. This is the problem. That's what creates these princess monsters. They had a dad that said, honey, you're the most wonderful person in the whole wide world, and you deserve all your dreams to come true. You deserve a man who's going to treat you right. And if any man ever hurts you, I will deal with them. And they don't mean hurt. They mean not spoil you. So sorry, Tami. Sounds like your dad was a simp and just told you, you have everything, you should have everything you want, and there's nothing that you need to give in return. You don't need to be accountable, just blame everybody else. And by the way, you should never have consequences for anything because consequences are mean and unfair. That's what these fathers have done to their daughters. And I know there are men who watch my channel and have children. I've spoken to some of you. Please, with your daughters, make sure they understand that bad behavior, consequences come with bad behavior, legal and otherwise, right? And explain to them how to be accountable, how to understand that they have a duty and a responsibility in this life. It is not all about, or at all about, just receiving things and accumulating material things and pleasure and luxury. Never, ever let them think that they are somehow entitled to that. Never ever let them think that being a wife and a stay-at-home mother is either oppression, isolation, because that's what you make of it, or that they, for some reason, are above serving their husbands. He serves you, right? So I just wanted to make that point, because otherwise you will create this. And I know it's hard. Your daughter may be the only woman that smiles at you. She may be the only one you can please. But resist the temptation to just make everything okay. She's throwing a tantrum or whatever, and you're just like, I just don't want you to be upset. No. Teach her anyway. Build character in her. It's up to you. I think that's who does it for a daughter. And that's why, with all these fatherless homes, we have the women we have. Creates a whole different type of monster. This one is the one you don't see coming. And I'm going to put myself out there and say the former Mrs. Crowder was a bit this way too.
These young men who look at Andrew Tate and the Tate brothers and they see somebody who's just quite frankly a douchebag and disrespects women. And because they've been so emasculated, they're like, oh, great, that's a manly man. But that's not right either. So at some point, I think we'll go back to maybe meeting in the middle here. You can be a man who has feelings and emotions, but you can also go to war and protect and defend your family. I'm hoping we can get back there. But the two extremes right now, they're confusing men. And quite frankly, they're leaving women with few choices. And that's the real tragedy here.
You see, I completely agree with you. But Andrew, you were shaking your head quite vigorously. Why?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just more feminine or feminist nonsense ultimately. And the covert feminism in society is big, especially on the conservative side. So here's what happens, right? Women need to have feminine virtues for men to be pursuing masculine virtues, for you to say things like, well, men, what I want is for men to protect me and I want men to make money. Well, that's great. What that ends up doing is it gives you a set of privilege in society. What do men get? What do men get for doing that for you? What are we getting from women for doing that? Are we getting chaste virgins on our wedding night? No, we're not getting chaste virgins on our wedding night.
I'm sorry, but look at her face. You can't, look at her face. She's panicking in here. She's panicking. I don't think anybody's ever asked her this before.
Are we getting women of great virtue? No, we're not getting women of great virtue. The idea of courtly love is supposed to be done for women of great virtue. Where are they? Well, they're nowhere. And so in modernity, in society, when female conservative influencers say this, it's actually a form of covert feminism. They're saying, I want privilege in society, right? But what is it women are giving to men to get it? What are they giving them? Tell me.
Well,
Can I please chime in here?
Yes, you can. And then James can, and I'll come to you, Sean.
No, I would love to. I love this whole thing of like, if you're a female conservative and you don't believe that men should be douchebags, that all of a sudden you're a covert feminist. Call me a feminist. I really don't give one crap one way or another. But I can tell you this, a lot of these men, these podcast hosts on the right that like to think of themselves as these big masculine men, and what am I getting out of it? I can tell you this.
There's that feminism.
All right, I believe I'm a woman of virtue, right?
Out.
Yeah, there's the feminism. Oh, and then you're interrupting me too,
Didn't
which
take
is great.
long,
I let
did
you
it? Didn't
talk.
take
It's my
long,
turn.
did it?
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to speak over me?
Yeah, I don't care if you call me. I don't really care if you call me a
strong,
feminist.
independent woman.
Yeah.
She's so flustered. She's so mad and she's so flustered because she has no answer. No answer whatsoever.
You're actually interrupting me. I didn't interrupt you when you were spewing your bullshit. So now it's my turn. Okay.
You mean the truth?
Like I said before. So I believe there we go again. Piers, I'm a woman of virtue. I happen to be independently successful. I have a husband who's not only a former professional athlete, but is currently a professional baseball coach. So
that's a flex. I'm such a good woman. Look what I caught. It's a fish story. It's like, oh, I went fishing. Oh, it was this big. I caught a bass. It was so big. I'm such a good fisherman. It's just a flex. is just, look what I snared. She shows her disdain for men in very subtle ways. And this is a big reason why when y'all say, oh, but there's good women out there, a lot of times you're looking at women like this, right? Who are pretty and, you know, seem feminine because they're good at faking it. But in reality, they see you as second-class citizens to serve them. She's like, I got a former baseball player, and now he's a baseball coach. So what does that have to do with the price of tea in China, lady? You're not answering the question.
So is he not a masculine man? I mean, I'm confused here. What's your concept
No, because if he was, he'd put you in your dang place.
Don't you
of a
understand that
masculine man?
misses the
Mine is a
point,
man who
that
respects
misses-
me.
Yeah, that misses the point, though. Like, you're still not contending with the argument
what's
that
your-
I'm
what's your
making. I'm
point?
saying inside of society, right this second, right, masculinity is not only punished, but also women on the right, covert feminists on the right, are constantly and consistently talking about how they need to have privilege in society. I want men. Their version of masculinity is men who take care of us, men who protect us, men who do all of this. Those are all duties that men have towards women. Great. What are the duties that women have towards men? What are the duties that women have towards anything? What do men get out of this arrangement? What are we getting out of this arrangement? Can you tell me?
I mean, you.
Well, I
as I
would
was going to
argue
answer
that
a
men
second ago.
innately
and
Well,
should
I'll
be
tell you-
I don't want to
protectors
interrupt
and
you.
providers.
Hang on one second. Let Tommy
Most men are
respond.
born that
Let
way.
Tommy respond to that, and then I'll come to you, Jez. And then
Yeah,
Sean,
most
you've
men
been
are-
waiting patiently. So
Most men are born to be protectors and providers.
They're just born to do it. Did you hear that, you guys? You're born to be slaves. So get to it. Still not answering the question. What are your duties, Tami Lahren? What are you doing for the man that adds value to his life, to his whole life?
I can't imagine my dad saying, you know what, to my mom, you know what, I'm not going to be a protector and a provider unless you do this. That's not how real men operate. Real men are protectors and providers, and they marry women who hopefully
great.
have
A
some
woman telling
virtue,
us what
but
real
also
men
bring a
are
lot to
again.
the
Great.
table as well, that are great mothers, great wives, caretakers of the home.
Define what a great wife is, Tommy. Define what a great mother is. Because you are probably not defining it the way, say, Andrew Wilson would. She gets to make up her own rules that all benefit her and make her look like she's perfect. And this is common, especially with these covert feminists that you will often find in conservative circles and in the church.
And there's nothing wrong with being a traditional wife and mother. You're misunderstanding me if you think that I think that women should just be out doing whatever they want. I think that
I
there
love getting
are
lectured
gender
by
roles that
women
should
on
be
what real men
respected.
are. That's
But I
great.
don't think a man needs to get something out of it to be a manly man, a protector, and a provider. If you think you
So
need to
nothing.
get
So you
something
should
out
have
of it,
nothing.
I quite frankly don't
So
consider you a
nothing.
real man.
Yeah, so you have
Okay.
nothing. So you have nothing.
But we'll
No women
discuss
have
in a
no
moment
duties,
whether
nothing.
Andrew
They just get
Wilson is a
privilege.
real man.
Here's-
But
So you have nothing. See? It never went anywhere, and she never gave an answer. You know why? Because she doesn't have one. None of them have one. And it reveals everything. That's all you have to do to win a debate with a woman like Tami Lahren is you say, what duties do you have like men have their duties? Provide, protect, go to war. What are yours that are like that? And they'll often be like, oh, we're take care of the home and we're going to be good people. That's not a duty. The fact that I've watched Andrew debate a lot of feminists, and I've watched him ask this question of them, and I've watched them say the types of things that I just said. And I've come to this conclusion. They don't even understand what a duty is. Not really. It's part of why not only can they not answer the question, they don't understand the question. That's how far removed women are today, most of them, from the ideas of duty and responsibility, especially when it comes to their husbands, their families. It's not there. The concept in and of itself, where they could even begin to answer that question, isn't there. And they want to shame the men because the men are walking away, because the men are calling it out. If it wasn't so tragic, it would be laughable. But I am glad that women like that go on shows like that and absolutely unknowingly reveal who they are. Why do they do it? Because they don't really understand how bad it is. They honestly can't see it. They're so entitled and they've been brainwashed into thinking that they're right about everything. That they will just go and speak the way Tami Lahren just spoke and not even realize. I'm trying to not curse, not even realize what a brat they reveal themselves to be. And I get that that's an understatement. I'm very thankful for people like Andrew Wilson, who expertly just destroys the argument and reveals them for who they are. And if that makes me, one of those evil red pillars, I'm fine with that. I'd rather be on the side of truth than be doing all these mental gymnastics that these feminists and covert feminists do to try to say that men are bad. Because guess what I found out over the years of studying all this and meeting a bunch of you guys is men are mostly good. You guys are. You were created that way. You were created in the image of God. And the way you're being treated is a travesty. It's a tragedy. And we got to call it out. We got to call it out. And the women need to call it out. The women need to shame women like Tami and more women who are godly women and can see the way the modern churches are treating men and expecting them to serve the women as Christ served the church. That's not the way it's supposed to be. The more the women can shame those women who see the world that way, the better. We made the problem. We're the only ones that can fix it. Do I think that it can just be fixed? No, I don't. I think society would need a complete collapse and then rise up again. But I do believe where there are pockets of society that can be immersed in truth. So one at a time, we can fix individuals and make, certain pockets of the population better. Because truth is always better. And there's power in the truth. There's more power in the truth than there are in these man-bad lies. And with that, I'll stop ranting. Whew. I have been waiting to make this video to show you, and it has just been on my mind, and I've been obsessed with this. And anyway, oh my gosh, you guys, this is absolutely proof that you need to protect your peace. It's backwards. Is it backwards? No. You need to protect your peace because this is crazy. This is horrible. Do not internalize this hate from women. Don't do it. Feed your souls. That'll help you be strong when all these attacks come at you. I love you guys. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Let me put this coffee down. I don't think I need any more coffee. I love you guys. And I'll see you on the next one.